Okay, so what we're showing here is we're gonna start a full test of a couple of things that we're going to show. One, we're going to show how this 230 volt pump can be how it's to be adjusted to 110 psi bypass. Then we're going to add the switch, and we're going to try to set the switch to 80 psi without a check valve. Without a check valve between the pump and the pressure switch, to show how that is very troublesome in terms of cycling. Then we're going to add the check valve in between here and show you the difference of how that works. This is a one-way check valve, quarter-inch sides. The John Guest that you have is ideal. So we have the same pump. 41, 49, 241. This is the pump that was returned. First thing we're going to do then is show you how to set the bypass to 110. So we deadhead the pump. Right there, it's about 100 psi. Now we're going to take our Allen. We're going to clockwise. We're going to clockwise a little bit until you have 110. Now your bypass is set at 110 psi. Now we're going to shut it off, and we're going to add the pressure switch, the PSW 280. And again, without putting in a check valve between the pump and the switch, what you will see is, because the flow is, if you don't put a check valve here in between these two, your flow is going to flow back through the bypass, and it'll make it nearly impossible really to set this switch because of the flow back. So now we have the switch on there. We're going to deadhead the pump again. Right now we have some cycling. We're going to turn the switch clockwise. We're turning the switch clockwise, and you can see that there's still quite a bit of cycling and rattling, which makes it really difficult. Now here we don't have the benefit of an accumulator tank. Don't have the benefit of an accumulator tank. Don't have the benefit of an extra length over here. It's going directly into the line. So we've increased this clockwise all the way.
We don't shut it off all the way. We just adjust it to 80.
Okay.
Here.
What we do then is, in this case, the best you can do is adjust the flow to a point where your needle is on the 80 psi mark without cycling. And then you turn the pressure switch counterclockwise
Slowly.
until, very, very, very slowly, until you see the needle on the gauge start to cycle. That's the only way you really know that you have 80 psi. So we're turning it counterclockwise, and your needle is not cycling yet. Okay, right there it's cycling. So that tells us that that's where the switch is at 80 psi. Now notice that when we shut it off, let's see what happens. When we deadhead the switch, you've had cycling. And the reason it's cycling is the flow is able to get back. It's basically flowing back through the bypass. It's flowing back through the bypass, through the pump, which is, again, going to cause a continuous cycling situation. Now, in contrast to this, let's add now the check valve here, which again will prevent the flow from just flowing back through the bypass of the pump and not allowing the switch to ever really stabilize at 80. We know that our switch right now is set to just about 80. So, okay, we've added the check valve now, a good solid check valve. We turn the pump back on. Okay, we have a check valve included. Again, this is without even the benefit of an accumulator tank or any length of tubing to speak of on the discharge side to make it smooth. We're going to try to deadhead the pump now. And okay, we actually achieved a shut-off pressure. It went up to about 90 psi. So we want to adjust it down a little bit.
Oh, that's not shut off. That's
Oh, that had a little spike.
yeah,
Extra
there's
spike.
a little bit when you if you do this, if you do it slow, it's gonna be
Okay.
spikes, but yeah.
Yeah. If you close this slowly. All right. So we've adjusted it down to where now if you have here you're dispensing, or here you're dispensing, and then when it shuts off at 80 psi. So the key point of this video is to show how it's critical to have a check valve between the pump and the switch to be able to hold the flow from going back and giving the switch a chance to isolate the suction side and really just focus on the discharge side, pressurized line, to be able to set it correctly at 80. What we might do in this video, do you want to try the accumulator tank just to show what the difference is? Okay, so since we're doing this, rolling this video now, we're going to now add an accumulator tank, which is behind, it's inside the system. So let's see. You can tell you've got, without an accumulator tank here, you do have a little bit of cycling there that we've just generated on purpose by moving the switch pressure. Now with the accumulator on, which it is now on,
Around 80. Shut off.
and allowing some flow back in the system, you can see how the accumulator tank slows down. Okay, so we've adjusted it down a little bit. We're going to adjust the switch and do the procedure that we explained in the other video, how you turn it in such a way where you see it shutting off at 80 and turning off where it should, about 15 to 20 psi below. With the accumulator tank, you have the benefit of having the slow motion reaction that gives you a nice accurate reading as well. So shut off at 80, turning on at 60. Okay, that should show all of the facets of the installation.